Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be doing something slightly different than our normal stuff. Today we're going to be looking at an article about the Toronto Raptors because I've recently gone back into watching basketball, hockey, all different types of sports. And me being a Canadian, I watch mostly the Canadian teams, mostly the Toronto teams, I'll be honest, so Toronto Blue Jays, Maple Leafs, and the Raptors. And as I've been catching up on stuff for the past couple years that I've missed, I have found a lot of news sites, or not news sites, I have found a lot of things about stuff that I want to talk about. And recently, literally today, I have found an interesting news article that I would like to read, and the actual official Toronto Raptors Twitter as well talking about it. We're on City News Everywhere. This is written by John Marsan. Thank you for the article. It'll be linked down in the description as well as the Twitter post. The title goes, Toronto Raptors President Masaiujiri is to leave the NBA club report. So, Toronto Raptors President Masaiujiri and the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment (mlse) have decided to part ways according to published reports. And this is slightly earlier today, so it has been confirmed. ESPN NBA insider Sam Sharna was the first to report the move, and this is his tweet confirming Masaiujiri is out as president and vice chairman of the Raptors. Ujiri was entering final year of his 5-year contract. This move brings to a close one of the most impactful eras of any executive has in Canadian sports, peaking with 2019 NBA title. And honestly, it's probably because of the changing leadership in the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. I've seen a couple things where I think the upper management of mlse has changed, and Ujiri and them weren't really, not necessarily they weren't cooperative with each other or looking at the same page. I think it's more of like they're taking out the old management to bring in new management because it's going to be a new mlse. Just before we get deeper into the article, I'd like to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. 95% of people who watch my YouTube videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so I really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button and so you can see future videos. Ujiri, who joined the Raptors as the team's general manager in 2014 before becoming team president 2 years later, was entering the final year of his contract as vice chairman and president of the NBA franchise. So it sounds like they also just didn't renew his contract. Like, they didn't re-sign him, which, funny enough, like, you know, I never really thought about, like, that type of stuff, but of course you have to re-sign those people. For some reason, talking about contracts when it's, like, the chairman or president seems weird to me, but it totally makes sense. Under Ujiri, the Raptors made the playoffs 7 straight seasons and won 5 division titles. He also orchestrated the trade for Kawhi Leonard in summer of 2018 that culminated in Toronto's first NBA championship in 2019. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a Toronto Raptors fan, I really, you know, the NBA title championship was cool to see, but I did feel bad for DeRozan because he was trying really hard, and obviously Kawhi never stayed, and he was never going to stay. He literally won a championship and still didn't stay, so he was never staying. Ujiri is the second high-ranking executive within mlse to leave the organization in the last month. The Toronto Maple Leafs announced on May 22nd that they had parted ways with the team president Brendan Shanahan after another disappointing playoff ouster. Bill Manning was shown the door last year by both Toronto FC and the Argonauts. And this doesn't necessarily surprise me. The Maple Leafs one is a little less surprising because the Maple Leafs, while not bad, definitely have been having playoff problems. And honestly, I don't follow the Toronto FC and the Argonauts. I am not that fan. Like, I know they exist, obviously, but I've never really followed them or watched any of their games. For me, this really just feels like that the mlse is clearing out old management because if I remember correctly, Rogers now owns a lot of mlse instead of Bell. I think they bought them out or something like that recently. And so they're starting, now Rogers is the main shareholder of mlse, which, you know, is a whole other topic because Rogers owns so many things in Canada. But it does feel weird, honestly, that they are, like, if we take away the business side of things, Ujiri was still doing pretty well. Like, after the championship, the Raptors lost the main star, Kawhi Leonard, but they weren't a bad team. When Pascal Siakam was still there and he became the main guy, like, it was still a really good team. They still got to the playoffs. And it was only recently, in the past, like, 2 years, that the team definitely has been not as good. But that's also because, at least this year and a little bit of last year, there's been problems with injuries and stuff like that. And at least Scotty Barnes, at least from what I have seen, is a good player to build around. And with the draft that just happened as well, with the new players, it seems like the team is on the up and up. It looks like a good future. Am I saying contender for a championship? I don't know, but definitely a better season than this season because they didn't even make it to the playoffs this season. But it's been a long time since they missed the playoffs, if I remember correctly. Okay, I just double checked myself, and they actually have missed. They missed the playoffs 4 times in the past 5 years since 2019. So during 2020 they made it once, and I guess, I mean, hey, I guess that does mean something has been going wrong. I swear they were doing better, but maybe it's just because I wasn't paying. Like I said, I've only recently gone back into it, so I've been kind of like looking back into it, so maybe I'm just mixing up the years. So I guess it does kind of make sense, though usually they change coaches by that time, but maybe it is also a heavy business decision too, I feel like, because of the mlse changes, and we'll just have to see who they replace him with. Now we're going to go over to the Twitter page for the Toronto Raptors, and they officially announced MLSE part ways with the Raptors president and vice chairman Masai Media release: MLSE parts ways with the Toronto Raptors president and vice chairman. Team leadership remains in place with contract extensions, while a search for a successor as team president begins immediately. During his 13 seasons with the Raptors, Masai has helped transform the organization on the court and has led an inspirational leader of it, said MLSE president and CEO Keith Pelly. He brought an NBA championship to Toronto and urged us to believe in the city and ourselves. We are grateful for all he has done and wish him and his family the very best as we plan for the franchise future and a return to the NBA playoffs. A search for the successor as president of the Raptors, led by CAA executive search, will begin immediately. It's interesting that I wonder if they would ever say if they have someone in mind to replace him already, or if they actually are starting a search. I assume they already know a few people, or like they have ideas of who to bring in, but I guess they would never say it, right? Because they don't want to bring too much hostilities, probably. As a search for a new team president commences, Raptors front office leadership remains in place with extensions for key personnel, including general manager Bobby Webster. Per team policy, terms of the deal will not be released. Makes sense. We're confident the Raptors organization, under the guidance of Bobby and his team, is in a great place, Pelly said. They have a plan in place for next season and beyond as the team continues to its rebuild. We have confidence in their ability to execute and ultimately to excel. We feel the team is in a strong, stable place, and we believe the addition of the new president will continue to move the Raptors forward towards our next NBA championship. I mean, hey, I'm totally down for that, though. At least from what I've seen in terms of the rebuild, like I said, I'm not super in knowledge of the players that they have drafted, but from my at least a little bit research, they seem good, like good players. NBA championship, I don't know. I don't think this next year, but maybe in a couple years. I would definitely could see it. First, let's make sure the Raptors make playoffs, you know? Let's have the Raptors make playoffs first, because it's been a while, and then win in the playoffs. Because I feel like the problem with a lot of the problems with the Raptors as well, at least from when I was watching as a kid in like the early 2000s and stuff, and went during DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry's, is that they just lost in the playoffs. They'd make it first round, they do really good in the regular season, and just lose first round, and it really sucks. And it made me sad. It's not necessarily, it's one of the many reasons I stopped being so invested in the Raptors specifically, because like I'd see them dominate during the regular season and do really well, and then all of a sudden it was just all gone, and then they just lost, and it made me sad. Ujiri was named president of the Raptors in 2013, joining the team from the Denver Nuggets. Under his leadership, the Raptors won the 2019 NBA championship, the first and only team outside the United States to do so. I mean, to be fair, the Raptors are the only team outside the United States. He's the co-founder of Giants of Africa, an organization which uses sport as a tool to enrich the lives and youth of the continent and encourage them to dream big. Yeah, I think I honestly am gonna miss Masai, because he really did believe in the team, and he really was like, he was kind of like a hype man for his own team, which is really weird, and he was really involved in a lot of ways. But I guess, like, especially with the most recent, like the past 4 or 5 years, it really has been not that good. And I wouldn't necessarily, that's all his fault, but I can understand wanting to change management, especially with the MLSEs changing their shareholders stuff, and with all the weird stuff and all the management. It's not even just with the Raptors, it's also with the Leafs and the other organizations under them. So it seems like they're kind of doing a clean slate over the years, but I guess we're gonna have to see how it goes with this change overall. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. This is very different from the normal type of content I make, so if you enjoyed this one, please hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it if you do. 95% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so I appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it. I understand. You just heard my opinion about this. I would love to hear your opinion on this in the comments down below. Thank you everyone for watching today's video, and I'll see you in another one. Goodbye everyone.